All right, welcome to part 2 of building performance reviews. So at this point, you've already created the title of the review and assigned your email notifications. So we're actually ready to get into the meat of the review, okay? So we're going to click on Review Form Sections, and I'm going to go ahead and add new, and each section, if you will, of the review is going to be either, it could be your questions or it could be instructions, right? So for this first section, I'm going to title it Review Instructions, okay, and then I'm going to save. All right, and then in the actual description here, I have already typed something up just so I won't bore you all with all of my typing. And I'm just going to copy it in there. Okay. All right, so there's some instructions, and then I can hit save. Okay, so I don't want you to worry about anything else in that particular part of the review. So all we're doing is assigning some instructions, no big deal. We didn't have any questions or anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave all of that blank. Okay. All right, so that's the first thing. So the second thing I'm going to do is I need to ask them some questions, right? This is a review, and in my example, I'm going to ask them questions so I'm going to hit Add New, right? And maybe you guys have your review broken out into several parts. We can always help you with that specifically, but I'm going to give an example here, and my example is going to be technical expertise. Okay, so that's what it's called. And then I'm going to explain what I mean by technical expertise. So for my example here, I'm going to say this means that you apply required, professional, and technical knowledge on the job. Considers, cannot type this morning, considers knowledge and application of current practices or principles, we'll say, in their field. So there's a definition of technical expertise, okay? All right, so then we have to make a decision. Who's going to answer this question? It seems like an employee question to me. Now, it could be that in your review, every question is the same. The employee answers it, and then the employer answers it, right? So the way this is set up is you type a question, then you decide who is going to answer it. So if this was just something that answered by the employee, then I would uncheck employer. If this is something that was answered by both, then I would keep both checked, okay? And so it's going to be a question, and I'm in a minute here going to show you how to select choices. But in addition to that, you can also allow them to comment, right? A lot of people like to add comments on their review, so we can allow a comment, or if we uncheck the box, they're just going to be able to choose from multiple choice, okay? All right, so I'm going to save, because I always like to save as I go. And then what I'm going to do below is I'm going to go ahead and create my multiple choice questions, if you will, right? Or answers. So, okay, so for my example, I'm going to give them on a scale of 1 to 5, okay? So this is going to be the first one, and I'm going to call this one 5, right? Because I like to do the top one first, and that 5 is they are, again, excuse my typing, they're distinguished, okay? Now you can assess a value with that, and that goes into scoring. We're going to cover that later, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say distinguished. Awesome, okay. And then I'm going to add another choice, and maybe my second choice is 4, and that is that they are commendable, right? I mean, we're doing all right, okay? And then my next one is going to be 3, and that one's going to be competent, okay? All right, so you guys get the point. All right, so we're going to add our next one. And so this one is going to be fair. And then we'll add our last one, and that one is going to be 4. All right, so whatever your example is, obviously that'll work. And so now I've got all of my choices, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And so I have now added a question. So it's very easy to add questions, as you can tell, and easy to assign who is going to answer them. So I'm going to actually click on the review form setup again. Looks like I was inactive a little bit too long. All right, so let me log out. Get back over there. And so I am going to click on the review form setup again. And now I'm going to click review form preview. And so now I have an idea, obviously, of what this is going to look like. So review instructions, welcome to your team. Okay, it looks like I have something in there for employee-employer answer that I don't like, so I can go back in and I can make edits as I need to, right? So there we go, display only, that's what I was looking for. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save, go back to review form setup, and you're probably going to be going back and forth a lot. Now you see that's removed as you're building, just to make sure you like what you see, and that is really it. So that's going to be the end of part 2, and then in part 3 we'll go into what happens when you assign this and how you can assign these reviews out to your employees. Thank you very much.